Hey, what's up, folks? How's it going? This is Avijit here, and welcome to Devops Challenge Hub. So let's start with today's interview question. And today we are going to start AWS CloudFormation. So before I start that AWS CloudFormation interview question, let's have a quick overview of what is AWS CloudFormation. So today's interview question is, what is AWS CloudFormation and what problems does it solve? And compare CloudFormation with Terraform. When would you choose one over the other? So before starting with this question, let's have a quick overview of AWS CloudFormation. So what is AWS CloudFormation? AWS CloudFormation is infrastructure as code serviced by AWS. So this is ISC serviced by AWS, infrastructure as code serviced by AWS. And you write YML or JSON, but YML is more preferable. Templates are executed as stacks. So it's all the resources are created as a stack. Infrastructure as code principle in safety. So what is the IAC principle in CloudFormation template? It has to be declarative, version control, repeatable, and auditable. Declarative, this is also common interview question. Sometimes people ask what is the difference between declarative and imperative. Give some examples of declarative and imperative. Declaratives are what resources you want to define, not how to create them. For example, Terraform, it's a declarative. You define what you want. CloudFormation template, this is also declarative. Imperative is Python language script or any shell script, AWS command line. That is imperative. So infrastructure as a code, it has to be declarative. It should be version controlled so that you can go back. If something is not working, you can go back. It should be kept in some repo, version control repo like Git repo. Repeatable and auditable. Same template can deploy across dev, staging, prod, such as repeatable. You just parameterize it and you are able to use again and again, reusable, and it should be auditable. Auditable means since it is declarative, it's not a coding language, if, loop, etc., and a different coding construct is not there. It's written in a simple language, English language, and it's readable. So if you read that YML file, you'll be able to figure out that you are creating 2 EC2 instances, 10 buckets, right, VPC, etc. You'll be able to read it out. So it's easy to audit. So repeatable or readable, version controlled, declarative. Safety versus other tools, AWS CLI versus CFT. CLI is good for quick task. Suppose you want to list how many buckets are there. You just run AWS S3LS. AWS S3LS, this is the command you execute from the command line. So for quick task. But if you want to create like hundreds of buckets and then EC2 instances, VPC, subnet, etc., managing complex infrastructure, you go for CloudFormation template or CFT. CloudFormation versus Terraform. CloudFormation is AWS specific. It's tightly integrated with AWS and native IIC tool, native infrastructure, uh, native infrastructure as code tool. Terraform, it supports multiple clouds like Google Cloud, Amazon Cloud, AWS Cloud, and Azure. Right? CloudFormation template format, we discussed, it's a YML preferred one. You can write also in JSON. YML is readable, allow comments, and is indentation based. So this is also can be an interview question. Why YML is which one is preferred and why? So YML is preferred because it's a more readable than JSON, and it allows comments also, and is indentation based, so easy to read. It's like a template structure. We'll discuss template structure in the next interview question. So you have a template version, metadata, who is the author, rules, mapping, conditions, resources, output, and resources defined, like what resource you want to create. Okay, like EC2, or you want to create EC2 instance type, and then what are the properties, T2 macro, image ID, or if you want to create S3 bucket, to mention that this is the S3 bucket, and so similarly, like you create a resources, and it works as a stack. A stack is running instance of template. You can create stack from console. You can go to AWS console dashboard. You can upload your YML file. There is a create stack option. Upload your YML file. All infrastructure located. Or for command line also create. You can create. You can keep a template in the S3 bucket, or you can keep all the YML file in your desktop. but finally it will be definitely version control. Key features: drift detection. It can identify change made outside the CloudFormation. Change sets, preview changes before applying them. It's called change set, preview changes before applying them. And stack policies, protect critical resources from accidental changes. So they are the key features. Best practices: prefer OML for clarity component, use parameter mappings conditions for dynamic templates. So you can parameterize it for dynamic template. We'll be discussing all this later. And there are some usages. You can use Terraform for AWS SAM template, etc. Now let's go to the question, today's question. What is AWS CloudFormation and what problem does it solve? CloudFormation, compare CloudFormation with Terraform. So CloudFormation we already discussed. This is the infrastructure as a code service from AWS, right? Where you write all your infrastructure in a JSON file or YAML file, and then using that YAML file, you create resources. And it's a repeatable, reusable, auditable. It's version control. It's a declarative. Key problem CloudFormation solves. What are the key problems it solves? Infrastructure consistency. So what it means? So if you manually go and create from AWS dashboard, today you created your production, your environment in, let's say, Mumbai region, and then again you want to create another backup region, maybe to serve customers in US. You create the same. You want to replicate in US, maybe California region. Then you Australia you create. So, and you by like when you are creating manually, you may miss out something. Then someone said, okay, you update this T2 macro to T2 large. You update it, but you forgot to change it elsewhere. And then you see that in 3 different regions, 3 different configurations available. Now you don't know which one is right. There's no single source of truth. So for single source of truth, we'll learn later what is GitOps, etc. So infrastructure consistency is one important thing. So there will be a single source of truth. It's a written in a YAML file. Any changes you don't go and do it in your different environment. You parameterize the environment, but you make changes in YAML file. So YAML file, like if it is a some server machine log server, and maybe you're using T2 large or whatever configuration, Ubuntu T2 large. So the same will be used everywhere. And other things, maybe name, etc., name of the buckets, other configuration, production, staging, or for different customer, different region, maybe a little bit different, but that server is same. You update in one place and it will be deployed everywhere. And you update in that YAML file. And you just check in the GitHub and in the comment message you mentioned like why you made the changes. So infrastructure consistency is one thing. Version control and repeatability. So it's versioned, reviewed, and rollback. So if you want to roll back, you can roll it back. So suppose you updated something and it's not working, but you know that previous one is working. You updated, you thought like downgrading from a large to maybe micro will be good. And someone suggested, no, it's, you can go back, you can use micro. And then you are push that changes. And now it's not working. And then you can go back to the previous version. You can check out the previous version and deploy that. Automated dependency management. CloudFormation automatically handles resource dependencies. So it knows this has to be created first. Then only like you can create this one. Like security group you create. After that, maybe you create EC2 instance that way. So because EC2 instance, you need to keep that security group. So it knows that dependency handle, dependency management. Resource A depends on resource B. So first you have to create the B resource. Stack management, resources are grouped into logical units called stacks. So you are creating a group of things like PPC and all the components inside the PPC, private subnet, public subnet, route table, etc. You are creating. So once you created, it's like a stack. And if you want to delete it, you can delete the stack. So this can be created, updated, deleted as a single unit. So prevents orphaned resources and simplified cleanup. So simplified cleanup and prevents orphan resources. Otherwise, what happens? You go manually delete maybe some route table, this table, that table, but it has become orphaned. Maybe we forgot to clean the parent resources. Rollback capabilities: if the deployment fails, CloudFormation can automatically roll back. So these are the advantages: infrastructure consistency, version control, repeatability, automated dependency management, stack management, and rollback capabilities. You can roll it back if things doesn't work. So now CloudFormation versus template Terraform component. So what are the advantages of CloudFormation? It's a native AWS integration, deep integration with AWS, and often it supports AWS features on the tier one. So as soon as they feature new feature, it will be available in CloudFormation. You will be able to create that new resource or you're able to use new configuration using CloudFormation. No additional cost. AWS managed. IAM integration. So it's because it's in AWS. So roles and IAM roles policies, it's integrated tightly. Built-in functions, there are a rich set of integrated functions. What are the advantages of Terraform? It's a multi-cloud support. It supports AWS, Azure, GCP, and hundreds of other providers. Mature ecosystem, extensive provider ecosystem and community module. So you have a very good support from the community. Advanced state management, it has a sophisticated state management with remote backends. Plan and apply, so you get a clear preview of changes before execution. It is a very modular system, reusable modules for complex infrastructure patterns. An ACL language, some people say that ASIC configuration language, ACL, is often considered more readable than JSON and YAML. So some people say that ACL is more readable than YAML or JSON. So when to choose a tool? CloudFormation choose when you are only working on AWS environment and you don't have any requirement for multi-cloud in future, or you don't have any immediate multi-cloud requirement. You want to work only on AWS and you want simple setup and you want deep integration with AWS services and practices. And from day one, you want to support AWS features, go for CloudFormation template. But if you want to support multi-cloud environment, which is very common in large Indian enterprise, helping against like vendor lock-in, hedging against the vendor lock-in. So you can go for multi-cloud. Like if your company is using Google Cloud, Oracle Cloud, and AWS Cloud, etc. So go for that. Your team values plan, review, workflow for change management. You want to leverage the extensive Terraform module ecosystem. There are different modules, some handful modules of there. Maybe in your project you need it, that then you can go for that. You standardize on a single ISC tool across multiple cloud providers. So main reason is multiple cloud. You want to standardize. You don't want to use defined IIC for different cloud, like CloudFormation for AWS, something else for Azure, Google Cloud. Instead of that, you want to use only one Terraform. So nowadays, many organizations like in India are adopting hybrid or multi-cloud strategies to avoid vendor lock-in and leverage different cloud provider strength. Because sometimes they're getting cheaper option in Oracle Cloud for compute instance, better option maybe in Google Cloud for storage. In AWS, they may be getting a good option for analytics. So that's why they're spreading it. And sometimes they don't want to rely on one cloud, because if things go down, the critical infrastructure will be affected. So they want to minimize the risk. So that's why they are going for multiple different cloud. So Terraform is definitely very good choice. So let's go to quiz section. You can try to answer. You can pause that video and try to answer yourself. Why Terraform might be preferred in a multi-cloud setup? It is built only for AWS. It has a built-in system supports. It supports providers across AWS, Azure, GCP, and more. So answer is C. Next question is, which tool offers a plan and apply workflow that shows what will change before making changes? Plan and apply. Plan and apply Terraform. What is the key reason to choose CloudFormation in a regulated enterprise? Still guaranteed day one. Guaranteed day one support on new AWS feature. So that is the key reason to support CloudFormation in a regulated enterprise. You get a guaranteed day one support for new AWS features. Which of the following is not an advantage of Terraform? Advanced state management, free with AWS building ASL for better. Obviously, the answer is B. These are our advantages: ASL for better readability, module reuse. This is advantage of Terraform. Advanced state management. These are advantage of state management. This is not because it's not AWS product, right? So that's it for today. Hope you like this video. Please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I organize daily quiz and contest in my Devops Challenge Hub page. You can follow and participate in daily quiz. And you can also follow my WhatsApp channel, and you will get regular updates. So thank you for watching this video. See you again in the next video. And most importantly, you try it hands-on. Then only you prepare, go for interview questions. Then only you will be able to follow the interview questions. So try out basic uh, things on cloud formation. Okay. So in the next tomorrow's session, we'll discuss about how we can use one cloud formation template in the cloud, and we'll try hands-on before discussing detail about that cloud formation template different parts.